today's Whiteboard Leadership Moment, I want to talk about when to start a new ministry. And I think the best thing for me to do is just talk through some questions you might ask. I would just tell you, first of all, that just because something new is new doesn't mean it's actually good. So be really careful about starting new things that are unnecessary. You don't want to create a competing system. You don't want to have sideways energy in your resources, your leadership, your finances, your time. You want to make sure that this is absolutely necessary. So the first question to ask is, why needed? Maybe there's a extra step that needs to happen in between the weekend and groups or the weekend and serving. Maybe there's something missing in your discipleship pathway that you need to figure out, but you have to answer the why needed question. I'm just going to beg you, it's not just because someone said, I really want to do this. Because whether you realize it or not, when people say that, it can very easily take resources and leadership away from the main focus of the church. So answer the why needed question. The second question is, who targeted? Who are they going after? This is part of defining the win of the ministry. Obviously, if it's mothers of preschoolers, I would assume that the target is mothers of preschoolers and not grandparents and things like that. But you got to figure out who is being targeted in this ministry, and then ask, are there other ministries that target this same group? And it may cause you to say, well, we're going to have to choose between one or the other, or just use this as an experiment, but not say it's a ministry at this point in time, and just do it on the fringe of ministry rather than the center of ministry with all the announcements and things like that. Third question, how led? Who's going to lead this thing? I've seen a whole bunch of churches that start new ministries without a leader. I've seen church plants that start a church plant without a leader, and then they go look for one. And the challenge of that is there's a culture that's already created. There's a expectation, there's systems, there's meetings, there's things that actually are not good. And again, a lot of resources and other things are put toward ministries that don't have a leader yet. I'm just going to tell you that the leader sets the tone for any organization, any group. And so it's much harder to find a leader for an already existing group than it is to find a leader who will start a new group. But how is it going to be led? Where's the power, decision-making power? Who controls it? Fourth question, where are they going to gather? What location are they going to have? Is this something that's going to be in homes? Is this something that's going to be on the campus of the church? Where are they going to gather? And really, when are they going to gather as well? What's their routine? What's their system? And again, the whole, is it competing with other things, is a question you have to ask. How are the leaders going to be trained? Not just the existing leaders that are there, but the new leaders coming in. What's going to be the leadership pipeline? If you want this ministry to do well, you're going to figure out how to move beyond existing leaders to another level of leadership, another level of ownership, so that the ministry can expand in its quality and in its impact. The sixth question is how it's going to be resourced. How is it going to be promoted? What's the error war for this ministry? How are we going to advertise it? How are we going to promote it? Is it going to be on the website? Is it going to be announcements on the weekend? Is it going to be word of mouth? What's it going to be? And also, how are we going to resource it? Where's the money? Where are we going to find the resources, the money for this thing? I hate it when you start a new ministry. Like, I know a church that called a youth pastor and just said, well, basically there is no budget. And it's like, how do you have a leader with no budget? It's just a difficult place to be. Let's make sure we're fully resourced when we're calling people in. The final question is what's next? What's next? There's two parts to this. One is where does it fit into the existing discipleship pathway of the church? Where does this fit in? Is this a discipleship thing, an evangelism thing? Is this an outreach thing, or is it a serve thing? What is this thing we're trying to create? Where does it fit in our natural progression of moving people to meet, know, and follow Jesus? Where does it fit in that? And then if we have this ministry, is there a next step to the ministry? If this is a ministry that has an evangelistic effort, an evangelistic focus, and people come to Christ, then what? Now what? What are we going to do with these people who come to Christ? We're just going to move them into our discipleship process? Let's think about what is next. It's so important to have new things in the life of the church, but there's a right way to do it, and I'm just going to encourage you to really think through these questions as you decide whether to start new ministries or not. This has been a Converge Whiteboard Leadership Moment. To learn more about Converge or to join us, check out converge.org.